What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we cover everything you need to know about on a daily basis: money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check update. We cover it all here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below, as it's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks so much for hitting the like button for us down below. Medicare says they are officially weighing a premium cut for Medicare Part B after limiting the Alzheimer's drug. And it could be coming this year, which could mean that millions of seniors will receive a lower price that they pay every single month for Medicare. Check this out. Medicare said this week it's considering a cut in enrollee premiums. That's right. After officials stuck with an earlier decision to sharply limit coverage for a pricey new Alzheimer's drug that's projected to drive up the program's cost. This drug costs over $50,000 per person, but was cut by over 50% and limited to how many people can get it drastically. Yeah. They said, quote, the agency is looking at that and it's still going through the process, but they have announced its final coverage decision for Alduhelm, a prescription drug whose benefit has been widely questioned in the medical community. Officials said that Medicare will keep coverage restrictions imposed earlier on the now $28,000 a year medication. It used to be $56,000 a year, and Medicare was able to negotiate it down to 50% of the price. Yeah. And paying for Alduhelm only when it's used in clinical trials approved for by the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, or the National Institutes of Health, which drastically limits the amount of people that will actually be on the medication. So the amount of people that will actually be on it will be drastically limited. So the amount of people that will actually be that Medicare will be paying the $28,000 a year for will be significantly limited. The projected cost of Alduhelm was a major driver behind a $22 increase in Medicare Part B premium this year, boosting it to $170 a month. Remember, last year, previously, it was only $148.50 a month. That price hike is already being paid by more than 56 million Medicare recipients signed up for the program's outpatient coverage. And lawmakers have called for a rollback of the price to happen this year. And Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra already directed Medicare to reassess this price. Yeah, so you got to think about this. There's almost 60 million people that are paying this higher price of $21.60 or something like that per month for higher Medicare Part B benefits every single month, times almost 60 million people. And a large percentage of that, or somewhat of a high percentage of that, is because of this originally thought of price of $56,000 for this Alzheimer's drug. Then it was now cut to $28,000. And then it was limited to just a small subset of people that have to be in a clinical trial. Okay. It's not for millions of people. But remember, there's almost 60 million people that are paying this much higher dollar amount every single month. So it seems very likely that there should be, and this is why even the Health and Human Services Secretary is saying that Medicare should lower the premiums. should lower the premiums. And this is very important because you got to remember that that $21 increase per month is an increase per month every single year from here on out until eternity. It's not just this year, it's for this year and next year and next year and next year and next year forever. Okay. So it's from here till perpetuity, forever. So that's very, very important because once they have like an increase go on, it goes on forever. Because you got to remember, like the increase from last year and the year before, those increases don't go away, right? I mean, think about that. All the increases from the year before, those are always, they always stay there. So this is very, very important because if we get a reduction here, it's very, very significant. So yeah, this is kind of very, very important because this will help everybody that pays for Medicare Part B, which is tens of millions of people, especially right now with the inflation at 40-year high, and just absolutely ravaging the country. You know, the price of gas, the price of food, the price of everything. You know, we have food shortages. Food is at an all-time high. In fact, it's the highest price ever in the world, not even just in the United States, but actually in the world. Food is at the highest it has ever been, ever. Um, and actually, gas is too, or was a few weeks ago. On March 11th, I think it was the highest gas was priced in the U.S. and the world ever. Yeah, remember our gas in the United Kingdom was averaging around $8 a gallon. If you equate it to U.S. dollars and equate it to a gallon, they buy it in liters over there. Um, Imagine paying $8 a gallon in the United Kingdom. Yeah, a lot of people just don't realize that it's not just a U.S. thing. Global food prices are the highest they have ever been, ever, for the world, and gasoline prices are the highest they have ever been in the world ever as well, globally for the whole world. Yeah, so it's just anywhere we can get savings, whether it's Medicare, whether it's food, whether it's gas, whether it's stimulus checks, whether it's states, anything, any type of relief we can get is very, very important because every little bit adds up. We got these, multiple different states that are doing state gas tax relief or pausing their gas taxes. Hey, every little bit adds up. Every little bit adds up. And we have multiple different states that are proposing stimulus checks or passing stimulus checks. New Mexico being the most recent one, which just passed $500 stimulus checks per person or $1,000 stimulus checks per couple, which is really, really amazing. Yeah, this is officially passed. You can see here two $250 payments, so a total of $500 for single state residents who filed an income tax, and two $500 payments for joint filers, so $1,000, $500 per person. Um, and this has passed both the state house and the state senate. So this is just like the most recent one that has just passed here within the last few days. So, an extra $500 per person or $1,000 on the state level. On the state level, every bit helps. Every bit helps, especially with inflation. Just in every bit of life, really adding up. An extra $1,000 definitely helps out. And the state of Alaska, which has passed in the House of Representatives and has to now pass it in their state senate, $2,600 payments. Yeah, per person. Imagine that. So Alaska really stepping up. That's for almost 1 million people in the state of Alaska. That's a really cool number. $2,600 per person. So for a married couple, could be up to $5,200 for a married couple. You could see it directly here. Anchorage Daily News: Alaska House approves Major increase in state spending, including $2,600 payments to Alaska. Yeah, and hey, I mean that's a nice amount, especially from a state, because typically on a state level, most states, I would say, do smaller amounts because they're just a state. They're just a state, so they don't get to print their own money like the federal government. I mean, states don't print their own money like the federal government does. But to see that large of an amount, that's because Alaska has a lot of oil. That's the main reason. They have over $80 billion in the state of Alaska. So it has to go to the state Senate now, I believe. And then don't forget the largest state, California, who says that they're going to probably send out $800 to married couples in the state of California, which they're calling gas tax refunds. Um, Remember that also, which would be $400 per person. Last year, they sent out stimulus checks to everybody that filed the state tax return and made under $75,000. This year, they're saying they're going to do it to people that own vehicles, so slightly different, slightly different. But again, it hasn't passed yet because it's still in the proposal phase, but they got to kind of go through the motions, pass it through their legislature. But they got $45 billion in excess money, so that it easily can pass. They're just got to have to, like I said, go through the motions here. If they want to do this proposal or change it, which they easily could do, they actually could make it higher. It just depends on what route they want to go to. They could have another check after this, even remains to be seen yet. We also have New York that just has one of their state senators that just proposed a $250 gas check for all New York residents that own a car. So if you own two cars, would be $500. So mom and dad own a car, or grandma and grandpa own two cars. Could be $500. And we also just had one of their state senators, Daphne Jordan, that just proposed advancing a common sense amendment to the state budget to establish a $1,000. Let me kind of zoom this out here so you can see it a little bit. It's not the best zooming here. uh, to the state budget to establish a family freedom inflation relief checks. This might be a better view here. $1,000 family freedom inflation relief checks to help New York families being hurt by inflation. And if they go this route or both routes, it really just depends. New York does have a history of going the kind of routes of different type of groups of people, but a lot of states do that sometimes too. It really just depends. This would provide $1,000 to family freedom inflation relief checks to help hardworking families financially hurting from rising inflation, coupled with New York's already crushing cost of living. Yeah. And it says here $1,000 in direct relief to assist qualifying families in coping with the high cost of childcare, paying for their child's education, or providing caregiver support to help families with elderly. So it's hard to say who that would be for. Would it be for all families with elderly people living with them, or all elderly people? It's really hard to say, or disabled family members. It's really hard to say. And on the federal level, basically, stimulus check number four, Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, who currently is tested positive for the virus, um, it doesn't seem like it's too bad for her. We haven't had reports that she's dying or anything along those lines. Um, but she is in support of direct payments. Her most recent speech is that she would rather have a direct payment, aka a stimulus check number four, instead of a federal gas tax holiday, because she said it would be better to do that instead of a federal gas tax holiday, which would actually benefit the oil companies, and that they couldn't guarantee that the oil companies would even pass on the savings, which does make sense. And I've said all along that it's better to give money to people, give them a check, let them decide to spend it on rent, spend it on food, spend it on medicine, spend it on their car payment, cell phone payment, whatever they need, right? Than to have to save the money every time they go to fill up gas, right? And remember, some people might not even leave their home, or might work from home, or might, be elderly and not even leave their home very often. So might not even benefit from filling up gas and saving, $5 or $10 every time they fill up, right? So, it's definitely better to just send somebody a check. So a $1,400, $2,000 check, something along those lines, definitely a lot better. On the other hand, a monthly check would be really good too, because those add up over time as well, which is being considered. I do want to say though that the states that are doing the pausing of the gas tax, definitely better than nothing. Definitely better than nothing. There are multiple states that are doing that. I do want to say good for them, because definitely better than nothing. So if you're saving money every time you go to the gas pump, and you're one of the states that are, you could see here Maryland and Georgia, and I know that Florida has paused theirs as well. Of course, Florida's going to make their governor is going to make people wait 7 months until October. Well, it's probably 6 months now until October, to 1 month before the election, the governor's election, to get the gas tax savings, ironically. And there's probably a couple other states here now that I can't think of off the top of my head that are pausing their gas taxes. So again, hey, every bit counts. So yeah, definitely, if your state's doing that, good for them. But on the federal level as well, we have House Representative Josh Harder has announced a $500 federal gas relief check program, which would be $500 per person. So a married couple would be $1,000, called the Putting Gas Money Back in Your Pocket Act. So that would be a potential $1,000 for a married couple. And then we also have a bunch of Democrats. Senator Bernie Sanders is behind this one as well, which would be $300 a month stimulus checks to help Americans struggling to pay for sky high gas. This would be the same amount that the child tax credits are, $300 a month. So you got to think that's a potential $3,600 per year. The child tax credits are also still trying to be passed. Republicans are actually um, in talks with the Democrats, namely being led by Senator Mitt Romney on that. He actually has a plan for $4,200 a year for children under the age of 6, and the same amount uh, currently for children over the age of 6, which is still um, $250 a month, which is $3,000 a year. So there's several paths forward for the child tax credits to still be passed through this year, either through the reconciliation process or with Republicans. The important thing is that they get it passed and start to get those monthly checks out. But there is also a possibility for monthly checks here as well for adults, basically stimulus checks or gas checks or whatever you want to be. Um, as well, you can literally see the headline right here. Democrats push for $300 a month stimulus checks to help Americans struggling to pay for sky high gas prices. $300 a month, it adds up quickly, because 12 months of that would be $3,600 per person, or two people would be $7,200. Even just one person alone, $3,600 would be more than all three stimulus checks combined. All three stimulus checks combined. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts here. So I will keep you up to date here with everything you guys need to know about on a daily basis. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below right now. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, it's completely free to do so. And after subscribing, click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button to get reminders when we go live with new videos. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And you can click here to watch my video about how also low and middle income can also receive $6,935 from the IRS as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.